It's time for the Douglas Coleman Show. Mr. Smooth and Savvy is joined by guests from all walks of life, from the entertainment industry to authors to political and social commentators, the famous and not so famous, the controversial and the light and fluffy. We have it all. Now, here's Douglas Coleman.
Well, hello there. Welcome to the Douglas Coleman Show. It's me, Douglas Coleman. How are you? We've got MJ Preston here today. MJ is an author from Alberta, Canada, and he's got several books that he's promoting. The Equinox, ACADIA Event, and Highwayman, which is a multi-part book. He tells us about his time working as a truck driver, and he was driving on the ice road in the Northwest Territories, which, if anybody has not seen the Discovery Channel special on that particular road, it's pretty interesting. The road just disappears in the summertime, and it's only there in the winter when it's frozen, and it's pretty desolate, needless to say. And MJ was one of the truckers who used to drive on that road. Just a note about the interview. We were having some technical difficulties with Skype and the phone connection, and luckily for us, MJ had the ability to record his portion of the interview from his end. So we took his recording and the recording that we had of me and combined them. Only problem is I was having a terrible time hearing his responses to my questions during the interview. So if I seem a bit daft, or more than usual, and I had to sort of anticipate what his answer was going to be and respond accordingly. So I think overall the interview came out all right, but judge for yourself. Anyways, the only real giveaway is that about 2 minutes into the interview, his audio quality improves significantly at one point. But hopefully nobody will mind that. Only the technophiles like myself notice things like that. So with that, we will be right back with MJ Preston.
You're listening to Mr. Smooth and Savvy right here on the Douglas Coleman Show. We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
Hi there, this is Stuart Epps, record producer. This is my story about Elton John, working with him in those early years, going back to 1967 at Dick James, all the amazing tours, those first recordings, going through to Rocket Records, and it's an amazing story about his incredible rise to stardom and my part in that. So look forward to taking you on that journey. So here we go. Yeah, and to order this great audio CD, please just email me at stuartepps@talk21.com. That's Stuart, S-T-U-A-R-T, Epps, E-P-P-S, at talk, T-A-L-K, 21 in figures.com. Stuart Epps at talk21.com. Email me and I'll give you all the details for buying this brilliant audio disc. Thank you, bye.
DJC Music and DJC Productions are pleased to announce a brand new website. We have started a listing website for radio show hosts as well as potential show guests. This is a meeting site where hosts and guests can come together. Show hosts can list their show and types of guests they're interested in booking. Potential guests can list their talents, bio, accomplishments, or anything they feel makes them an interesting radio show guest. There are no recurrent payments, only a one-time $5 listing fee. Your listing will stay up until you decide to cancel. Previous guests of The Douglas Coleman Show are welcome to submit their guest listing free of charge. Go to radiohostsandguests.com. That's radiohostsandguests.com.
Tired of living in a culture of lies, fake news, and alternative facts? The Pro-Truth Pledge reverses the tide of lies by calling on politicians, and everyone else, to commit to truth-oriented behaviors. The pledge asks signees to commit to 12 behaviors that research in behavioral science shows lead to truthfulness, such as clarifying one's opinions and the facts, citing one's sources, and celebrating people who update their beliefs toward the truth. Private citizens who sign the pledge get the benefit of contributing to a more truth-oriented society. Public figures get more substantive rewards for signing the pledge in the form of positive media and public recognition. The pledge crowdsources the truth by asking volunteers to evaluate the statements of public figures who sign the pledge. Take the pledge, demand that your elected representatives do so, and encourage your friends to take it at protruthpledge.org.
Are you an independent musician? How would you like to have your songs played on hundreds of radio stations just like the one you're listening to right now? Join MusicSubmit.com and we'll promote your music to radio stations and blogs in your genre. It's free to set up your account, and we guarantee your music will be considered for airplay by radio stations worldwide. Why not sign up today? It's free. MusicSubmit.com. Radio promotion for indie musicians.
The show's about to start!
I'm coming as fast as I can.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Ooh, don't know my own strength.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Okay, please welcome to the Douglas Coleman Show, MJ Preston. Hi, MJ. How are you?
Great. Great to be here. How are you doing today?
Doing fine. Thank you for coming on the show. As we were talking about before we got on, I wasn't quite sure which book you're promoting, so let's just promote them all. I think we have enough time. We can talk about each one a little bit. One of them particularly that I wanted to ask you about, because I did see that show. I forget if it was a series or if it was just a special on the Discovery, but it was about the ice roads in the Northwest Territories. That was a very cool show. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
I do know the one you're talking about. I was an ice trucker on that ice road for 3 seasons actually, and that inspired my second novel, which was called ACADIA EVENT. And I used the ice roads as an actual backdrop to an all-out alien invasion, and a little bit of a gangster-esque theme in there, as well as the guy's on his way. Our main character's named Marty Croft, and he's on his way to pick up a load of stolen diamonds, but gets diverted by an all-out alien invasion when they discover something at one of the mines in the north. So yeah, I was never on the show. I was in a documentary, French documentary, which I have never seen, but a lot of people contact me and they'll send me screenshots from watching it on TV, but I always seem to miss it. So, yeah.
Well, let me ask you a little bit about that road. First of all, where is it to from?
The ice road runs from Yellowknife, which is in the Northwest Territories, and then it runs up about, I think, 400 to 500 kilometers right below the Arctic Circle. It goes to 3 different mines up there. So the story in my book is a fictitious road, which parallels that. However, that road feeds the Diavik diamond mine, and then the Gaucho Quay diamond mine, and the ACADIE diamond mine. But unfortunately, I think ACADIE filed for bankruptcy due to the COVID-19 this year. So who knows where that's going? But yeah, it goes quite a ways up. It's quite a trip. I've done the ACADIE diamond mine, which is the farthest north. That goes on that ice road. It's quite a sight to see. It really is.
So that's all that's up there, diamond mines?
Yeah, that's all you get up there is diamond mines. There's 3 diamond mines up there, and that's all they're producing. As I understand it, for them to make money, they have to produce a coffee can of diamond mines, of diamonds per day to be profitable. And, you know, when you think about all the big equipment up there, you think, just a coffee can? But that's a lot of diamonds.
Well, I think that is a lot of diamonds. I've never seen any diamond mines except for the ones that I've seen in South Africa. But I suspect it's a great deal colder up there. But actually underground would be warmer, wouldn't it?
Well, I've never been underground. Back in 2012, there was a major storm, a Category 3 that came in, and it wiped out the whole ice road from Yellowknife all the way up to the ACADIE diamond mine. So we got stranded there for 5 days while they went and tried to build us a quick road to get us out.
And but one of the things that happened is I got to do a tour around there, so I got to drive around, but I could not go underground. I did get to overlook the pit, and I took pictures and everything like that. But you have to go take some special course, so they were a little antsy about the idea of a bunch of truckers going underground. But yeah, it was fun. It's I don't know if it would be warmer or not. I would imagine they have heat exchangers and stuff down there too, though. Once when they're working down below, so yeah, would make sense.
The road is not accessible in the summer because it has to be frozen in order to drive across it. In the summer, it's, what is it, like swamp or bog or something like that?
It's just a number of giant northern lakes, and it's just wide open. So yeah, like when the spring comes, the road just falls into the lake, and then they just wait for it to freeze again the next year, and then they cut another road through the snow on the ice.
All right, so that's one of your books. That was Acadia, you said?
Yeah, ACADIA Event. It's basically, like I say, it's the protagonist is a guy named Marty Croft. He gets hoodwinked into going up to pick up a package of stolen diamonds. But one of the mines, the Acadia Diamond Mine, along the route, unearths a machine that inevitably opens and allows aliens to come spilling in from basically, I guess, another dimension, or like a wormhole almost. They come through and they find themselves in another situation where they're fighting for humanity. So yeah, it's a pretty epic tale, actually. When people read it, they seem to just love it. So
I'm looking here that there's another reference to Star Trek. I just interviewed Robert Sawyer, who wrote a couple for the online Star Trek, which I didn't even know existed. And now here's a reference. Why don't you tell us about this reference to Star Trek Voyager?
Well, a few years ago, I went off to a con, which was called AnthoCon, and it was for writers that contribute to anthologies. And that's something else that I've done over the years, is contributed to anthologies in the form of short stories. And when I got there, one of the guys I met was a writer named Gregory L. Norris. Now, Greg Norris used to write for the Sci-Fi Channel, and he was a screenwriter for Star Trek Voyager. And we ended up exchanging books. He gave me his Tales from the Robot Graveyard, and I gave him ACADIA Event. And when I was a little paranoid, because here's a science fiction guy, and I've written I'm not a sci-fi guy. I'm more of a horror thriller guy. And I gave him the book, and he came back and he said he absolutely loved it. So he gave me a plug and all that, and that was great. It kind of gave me a little bit more legitimacy, and I was happy to do it, and we've been friends ever since.
Oh, great. Why don't you give us a little bit of your backstory, just so people kind of know who you are and what you've been up to? Let's see, you're in Canada, and when did you start writing professionally?
I've been writing my whole life, but I started writing my first novel, The Equinox, back in the 80s, and I ended up shelving it. I was in the Canadian military, so I was gone all the time, out on exercise, and plus I was raising a family, so I shelved it. And then in 2010, I dug it out of a box, the manuscript, and it was about half finished. I thought, well, I should take a shot at this. So that's what I did. I published it, and I put it in the Amazon Breakthrough Awards, which existed at that time, and it made it all the way to quarterfinalist, which is pretty good for a horror novel. And it got a good plug from a reviewer at Publishers Weekly, who called it a straight-up horror novel. I also got some underground success with it because some of the podcasts that were out there, like the Dark Discussions podcast, one of the hosts on that, Philip Perrin, said it was the best horror book he'd read in 10 years. So Acadia got a lot of love, and it still continues to get love from everybody who seems to read it. What happened for me in the last couple of years is I started writing this series, the Highwayman series, and that consists of 2 books right now, but is going to go on to be more. And the first one was called, self-titled, it was called Highwayman, and I submitted it to WildBlue Press out of Colorado. Well, it took a little while, but they came back and they said, we want it, and we want the follow-up book. But as a deal of that as well, they turned around and they said, we want to take your other 2 books under our wings. So The Equinox, ACADIA Event, Highwayman, and the just recently published 4, which is the second book in the series, are all under the umbrella of WildBlue Press. And so that's why I'm saying pitching 4 books here, because it's like juggling it. All these books have to, have to get out to readers. So that's kind of been my journey. I was a trucker for a lot of years. I don't do that now I'm no longer a long haul trucker. And but most of the other weird thing about me, I guess you could say, is that 3 of my books were written on the steering wheel of a truck. So every time that truck stopped, the laptop came out, went onto the steering wheel, and off I'd go. So that's pretty much where I am now. I'm writing and trying to get the word out there and picking up readers and having lots of fun.
So you could type and drive at the same time?
No. That's why I said every time the truck stopped, right? So if I'd stop for the night, or sometimes I get up early in the morning, and before I was ready to go down the road, I'd start typing.
I see. Okay.
You have to take every opportunity as a writer. When you got a day job, you got to take a hold of it, and that's what I've been doing for years.
Your first book was called Equinox. How difficult was that to get a publisher interested in it?
Well, it wasn't. It was difficult, of course. Once I finished it, yes, I tried to go the traditional route, and it was banging on a lot of doors. But that's when the indie thing really started to take off, and somebody from the indie community, they told me, you should do this. You should just if you can't get it into a publisher, you should get it out and see what you can do with it. So that's what it was with my first 2 books. I've sold other work around to different publishers, not in book form, but those first 2 books were self-published. They were indie books.
Has there been any interest from people who want to turn your books into film?
No, I haven't had that yet, but hey, I'm game. The only time we have a Aboriginal People's Television Network up here, and I did receive a comment from them how much that they love the Equinox, and they did ask me if I had any designs on film or anything like that, and I said no, but I'd be more than open to doing that. And the way that works is they never got back to me. So, I was listening to another writer, Con Lavery, and he said to me, Craig DeLuey, and he mentioned that too. He's had a few of his works optioned, but he doesn't hold his breath anymore because of the industry and the way it is. But, I'm open to it, and certainly we're always pushing for more exposure, but it hasn't come yet. Not in that form anyways.
So what's your next project? Are you working on something else now?
Yeah, I'm working on the next Highwayman book, which is going to be a completely different story, but it'll be the 3rd book in the series. And then my plan after that is to go off and just write a standalone juicy horror novel, and we'll see where that goes.
Okay. Why are people so fascinated with horror? Why is that such a big genre?
Well, I can't speak for everybody, but certainly there's a lot of people who are very enthusiastic. When I went out to New Hampshire for that con, I met an awful lot of people from the Horror Writers Association, including F. Paul Wilson and a few others like Gene O'Neill. And I don't know what the love is for horror, perhaps because it's just one of those places, especially for writers, where you can do anything. You can try and time travel. You can make blood come out of the sky. You can do whatever you want in that genre. And I think that's what attracts a lot of people. And I think also there's a lot of darkness out here in the real world, and that's a little bit of an escape, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose that does work. Anything else you want to mention? You want to talk about? You want to mention a website or?
Yeah, you could. You can come and check. Look, the easiest way to find me is to check me out on the web. On the web is mjpreston.net, all lowercase. Or you can go find me on the WildBlue Press website, wildbluepress.com. Or you can just simply go to Amazon and you can pick me up there. All my books are there. Even the short story books are all posted on my site. Come on and check me out. I love readers. I love interacting with readers. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, or even LinkedIn. So
okay, great.
Come and find me.
My guest is MJ Preston. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It was nice talking to you. Best of luck with your